This weather is not exactly inspiring me to want to go to work right now. But we got cars to tune, so I'm gonna go anyway. See you guys at the shop in a minute. It's still hot as crap, but it's raining. Okay, so the rain has subsided a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and try a few more things. Just double check this tune on this red 370Z from last week. Kind of make sure it's okay until we figure out what's going on with the supercharger. What'd you say?
Is there any way to like put a gauge on it to see if it's making boosts?
Yeah, you could put a regular boost gauge on. It's supercharged, so it still makes like actual boost. You could put a boost gauge, but I already know because I was logging on the dyno that it only makes like half a pound and then ramps up to like 4.5 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's not really a great example of like a supercharged car. But mostly right now, I'm just trying to give you an idea of like, I guess kind of what it feels like to drive a supercharged car one. And I'm taking a look at the data log really quick to make sure that I'm still hitting all my target fuels, even with a little bit of people in the car and loaded up a hill. It's worth a quick check. Usually I'm pretty right on. I know about how much adjustment will happen on the road, and yeah, it's right where I thought it would be, so we're good to go. This is ready for the customer unless he wants to try to sort out the boost issue. So okay, so as you can see from the sunglasses here, the rain went away. Yesterday kind of sucked. Like everybody that had appointments couldn't make it. One of the cars was actually a convertible, like an old classic Porsche with a cracked like aluminum radiator or housing or something, and he needs it welded in the car, so they couldn't actually get it here because the convertible top, it's old, it needed a new part as well, and it couldn't go up, so they couldn't get rain like flooding in this classic Porsche. Anyway, it's on its way over right now. I gotta weld the tank in the car. And then we're gonna tune a B20 non-VTEC on Hondata. And then if I get that done, I can finally tune the Black Z. It's like all I wanna do. I mean, the car is done. It runs like good, it starts up, the injectors are basically scaled in, and it's just waiting for time to go on the dyno. So, why does work always get in the way of basically like everything fun that I want to do? I know technically dyno tuning that car is my job, but for sure it's like the best part of the job. Like when you finish the project and you're just like, I'm just itching to see like what it will do on the dyno. So I only have one potential apprehension, and I believe it's because he doesn't know what clutch is in it or what was put in recently, or if it's just a stock one. So we could have a slippy clutch situation with like the amount of horsepower we're trying to make. But it's okay. We'll get the car scaled in, get the tune going as good as we can, and I just cannot wait to hear some freaking turbo power on the dyno. So anyway, sit back, enjoy this day. I mean, just hang tight with me. Let's just get through these work projects. It's Tuesday. Let's just get through work, and then we'll get on to the fun stuff. Okay, I don't have Porsches in here very often, but we got this little guy right here. I don't even know what kind of Porsche it is, but they had a crack in their back radiator. I believe it's a radiator. It's in the back, which is odd. But I thought it was kind of funny because you guys ever look underneath like a real sports car? They have like all this body plating. Like, can you see it? Like basically the whole car is all aerodynamic and covered underneath, like the whole thing. And then here in the back, I'll see if I can you guys see this right here? Yeah, I had to put like a little bit of a weld around this little crack. And it's not the best looking weld in the world because that kind of aluminum from the radiator is kind of porous cast material, so yeah, you really have to clean it as good as you can and just kind of put some, you know, heat it up and put some material in there. But anyway, project 1 finished. On to project 2, which is the B20 Dyno Tune, Matt's new setup over here. Okay, so we didn't quite get any good results out of the B20. The motor and all the stuff he did worked out really well, and the 4-bar map sensor you put in worked good. But unfortunately, he bought like kind of a different eBay turbo, right? It was like, it's kind of like a
eBay turbo.
It's what?
An expensive eBay turbo.
Yeah, kind of an expensive eBay turbo. It's like partly ball bearing or something like.
It's ball bearing. It's a 24 millimeter ball bearing turbo. But...
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of like an eBay ball bearing turbo, and it's supposed to be better than the regular ones. And it did make good power the last time. However, this time it decided to like seize on the dyno. Like the turbo, it doesn't even spin at all. You could put your hand down there and try to turn it, and it like will turn a little and get stuck, and then there's like a ton of movement up and down. Like it is just toast. So unfortunately, that's kind of like, it happens when you're doing cars. Sometimes you just have a bad day. So I'm sure he'll sort it out and be back next time for a much better dyno. Camera, but it's just because it was such a fiasco. Hold on. I had the car idling for the first time for just a few minutes while I was scaling a few things on the tune, and all of a sudden, poof, like a ton of smoke, and I was like, oh man, what could that be? So I shut it off. Come to find out, even with all of my efforts to make this kit fit as good as possible, this particular kit didn't come with a replacement AC line. So even though I have everything heat wrapped and like not touching anything hot at all, just the heat coming off the turbo and all the other stuff, even with like the turbo blanket and the heat wrap, it still got too hot for the AC line. AC wasn't running either. Just sitting there blew the AC line. So sorry for all the fan noise, but you guys can see I've obviously got it like super heat wrapped everywhere. And even down on the turbo pipe that's underneath this blanket coming up, the ones that come past the AC line, they're wrapped really, really well. Gosh, it's so dark you can't see, but anyway, you do the best you can, and without the correct clearance in the new line, it just makes it impossible for that to not blow out. So okay, so I was just about to make my first pull. Well, actually I did make the first pull, and the MAF, can you see the broken ears? The fitment on the boost piping was like super, super tight, So, like, I think the second that we made boost and things shifted around a little bit, it just cracked the housing. So we are going to get a weld-on MAF, flange for the 3-inch piping that's already on there, and then I'll be able to weld it and make everything fit super good, and we won't have this problem ever again. But for now, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and rig this mass airflow sensor just a little bit, like sand off the flange and put a coupler over it really tight. And if I can get it to seal up, then I can keep going on our horsepower making. The struggle. Own a Nissan, they say. It'll be fun, they say. No, I'm just teasing. This thing's gonna be so dope and it sounds so good. Like, I can feel the power. We just gotta get it to, like, everything to line up and it'll be great. All right, I'm gonna fix this MAF right now and we'll go from there. Okay, on the other side of the mass airflow sensor that broke off, we got this flange. So we cut him off, just with the saw. And now to make sure the piping doesn't come apart again, we have this fancy little tool. I'll show you. So this little tool right here, basically you tighten the clamp down here and you turn the arm. And as you do it, the little groove here makes a bump on it, like a little bead. And it is like one of the handiest tools if you're dealing with boosted cars all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've had a customer come in with a boost pipe that pops off, and we can just kind of stop and put a bead roll on it like this, and it just makes it so that nothing comes apart and all your boost is sealed. Cool, perfect. And then now you got like one of these awesome looking like beads all the way around, just like it was coming from the factory. Kind of cool, huh? Okay, I got some lunch in me, super critical, so that my brain will function and I can get this tune written. And the crazy thing is the broken mass airflow sensor, once I sanded it down and got it fitted, it actually fits better than it did with the flange, because the flange was so bulky it didn't really want to fit underneath the sway bar. But now it fits like super nice, and I don't think we're gonna have any boosted issues at all. So check this out. So like right here used to be where that flange was, and it would just hit this bar super hard. And now it just fits like very, very nice, tucks everything in good. And there's actually like a small gap here, which is better than it was to start with. All right, back to my job, back to the tune. Okay, we finally got our first like decent dyno pull, and it's making, almost 4 pounds of boost and really close to 250 horsepower, and it's still like a little bit on the rich side with like an 11.1 AFR. But as far as the curve goes, it's super flat. There's a really conservative timing table in it right now because I have no idea how much boost it was gonna make. But it's only up from here, so I'm gonna keep tuning a little bit, see if I can clean it up at 4 pounds, and then see if we can make a few more PSI and make just a little bit more horsepower. All right, let's do that. Okay, now we're getting there a little bit. We're only making like, oh, the sun is so bright. We're only making 3.8 PSI on the first pull, which was like about 250 horsepower. Luckily, the Turbonetics wastegate has like kind of a cool feature. There's an adjustment screw on the top that preloads the wastegate spring, And if you use that one, you can get like 2 more PSI without having to change the spring. So as you can see right here, I know the sun's killing me, but 281 and 272 foot-pounds of torque at about 5.8 PSI. So definitely not a bad start. And I mean, this tune is really kind of getting there.